I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 232, music part 2, that is on the page 80, while doing leg stretching. And if you participate in leg stretching, that's at your own risk. And also we're doing the exercises quite long to them at your own duration. First exercise, we're bringing one leg in front, the heel onto the ground, and we're pulling the toes towards us. And that stretches the leg. And from time to time, we're going to contract the quad muscles, and then we release again. So starting with contraction of the quad muscles. Music. We already had that music is important in Britain, and there are the proms since 1927 organized by the BBC. And then we had some composers, for example, George Frederick Handel, then Gustav Holst, Sir Edward Elgar, Ralph Vaughan Williams, Sir William Walton, and Benjamin Britten. And now we're going to have a bit more to music. And relax again the contraction, but keep the stretch there. Pull the toes in. Other types of popular music, including folk music, jazz, pop and rock music, have flourished in Britain since the 20th century. And we're contracting again. So not only classical music, and yes, classical music. That was also classical music. Henry Purcell we also have. Classical music, but other types of music are also popular. For example, folk music, jazz, pop, and rock. And they all have flourished in the United Kingdom since the 20th century. And we're releasing again the contraction, but we're keeping the leg back. So if this exercise is too long, you can do that or something else. Britain has had an impact on popular music around the world due to the wide use of the English language, the UK's cultural links with many countries, and British capacity for invention and innovation. To have a capacity for invention and innovation, since it's a sick formulation. Maybe even a little mindset. And the contracting again. So that's it, that was long. We had that Britain has had an impact on popular music around the world. So the music which was done in Britain has an impact all around the world. The music done in Britain had an influence on the United States. The United States had an influence on the whole world. So that's through the whole world. But also directly the music from Britain had an influence on Canada and also Europe and other countries which are not speaking English. That's the second point here. So the music done in Britain, relaxing again, had an influence on music in many, many different countries. And that was due to the use of the English language. There are many countries in the world which speak English. Did we contracting? Now we're contracting. And in them, of course, but also in many other countries where English is not spoken, English music is listened to. And even if the people in these countries can speak English as a second language, oftentimes they don't understand anything of the lyrics in English, but we still listen to it. And we're releasing the contraction for last time. The UK's cultural links with many countries. The UK says the cultural links with many countries. Many countries of the Commonwealth to Canada to the United States. There's also a cultural link, and to other countries. And also through the Second World War in Germany and also with France and with Italy. But there's still a cultural influence because people from Italy listen to English music and listen and watching English movies. So there's a cultural links with many countries, not with Italy, but with many countries. And for last time contracting. And British capacity for invention and innovation. Maybe if you want to take that, I don't know how the word is called. We're changing that. The other leg in front, the heel on the ground, and we're putting the toes in, and we're contracting the quad muscles. Maybe one could say because in England we have since quite some centuries already freedom, and the people were allowed to do music. In many other countries it took longer, and there were also times when art was not completely free. So we could take it even, so we can take the essence to it also, and can find the truth in it, that in Britain since centuries art is pretty free, and people are allowed to do art and music. And that there is, as the mindset was with the Enlightenment, the state does not, people have their own mind, what was it? Their formulation, because the Enlightenment also is differently a little bit in different countries, and I heard of other definitions. and releasing the contraction. But for people that are intelligent, that they have reason, these are the two center points, but they have their own opinions, and the state should not dictate to them. They used something similar. It means the same, but they used another form. It was shortly after the Glorious Revolution. We're contracting again. The enlightened should have the right to their own political and religious belief. That means because they are intelligent, they have reason, they are thinking human beings, basically. They have the right also, and then here, the right to their own political and religious belief, and that the state should not try to dictate to them. It was in the 18th century. The Enlightenment was also in other countries, but there were often times when the art was restricted. And that did not happen, or almost not in Britain. I don't know about anything specific, so I don't know it, but so let's take it just it was very free in Britain since a long time. So there was a capacity, and releasing the leg, for invention and innovation. So people could invent new music, and that was not forbidden or not much. And innovation, they could basically, I don't know what the word exactly means. It means in a way to create new, but not completely new, based on the old new, something like that. And we're contracting again. Since the 1960s, British pop music has made one of the most important cultural contributions to life in the UK. I should speak a bit more clearly. Since the 1960s, British pop music has made one of the most important cultural contributions to life in the UK. We are releasing the contraction. What it means is that the pop music in the United Kingdom had an influence on the culture in the United Kingdom, on the life in the United Kingdom. The pop music itself has a great influence on the society of the United Kingdom. Bands including the Beatles, we're contracting the last time, bands including the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, we had them already in the swinging 60s, continue to have an influence on music both here and abroad, so in the United Kingdom and in other countries. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones, they started in the 1960s and they continued also very long, and I think the Rolling Stones at least are still playing. And other bands then have a great influence on music in the United Kingdom and also abroad in other countries. And we are bringing the leg to the outside, the next exercise. Again, if these exercises are too long, you can rest and do something else. The leg at the outside, the anchor chain stability test, having the toes pointing forward, and the pressing of the leg a bit into the ground. I'm just trying to be frontal and straight up with the leg. British pop music has continued to innovate. For example, the punk movement of the late 70s and the trend towards boy and girl bands in the 90s. So the British music had innovations. Yes, it makes in a way sense. But I would say punk is more or less an invention. But boy and girl bands, that is an innovation. That is not really completely new music. So punk, I don't know how to describe it. It has something of rock or hard rock. I don't know how to describe it. And boy and girl bands, it's basically pop music, just that all the singers, and there's multiple 4, 5, 6, 8 or something, they are consisting then of one of the genders exclusively. So exclusively boys or exclusively girls. And we're releasing a bit of a contraction, but we're keeping the leg there. So we're pressing, we're keeping the leg there. There are many large venues that host music events throughout the year, such as Wembley Stadium. Did we have it? I think we have it. Somewhat time named. It must be by football. No, I don't know. Maybe it was named. Maybe not. So there are many large venues that host music events throughout the year, such as Wembley Stadium, the O2 in Greenwich. I think it's pronounced Greenwich. And such as Wembley Stadium, Greenwich, South East London. Is the name South East London? No, Greenwich is in South East London. And the SEC Centre in Glasgow. So in the United Kingdom, there are not only large stadiums, there was something to stadiums. Yeah, Wembley Stadium in London and the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. And we're pressing again the leg into the ground. So the Wembley Stadium in London is not only used for sport, but it's also used for great music events. So then the football field, where sometimes they're making completely wood over it and layers, so that people can go completely bare and don't jump in it. I don't know why they do it. I don't know. But it's basically a big football stadium, and also the football field is then used for the people to stand there. Or sit. It's both possible. So the Wembley Stadium, there are great music events, and there are 10,000s of people listening to music. And we're changing the leg. The other leg to the outside. The torso body forward, and we're pressing a bit into the ground. And also the O2 in Greenwich, which is in southeast London. So there's another arena which is called the O2. I don't know why it's called that. Maybe it's because of a company. There's a company called the O2, I don't know. And the SEC Centre in Glasgow. So in Glasgow, that is where, in the middle of Scotland, there is the SEC Centre. There's also music there. Festival seasons take place across the UK every summer with major events in various locations. Famous festivals include Glastonbury, the Isle of Wight Festival in Cranfield. Many bands and solo artists, both well known and up and coming, perform at these events. Both well known and up and coming. They're usually actually up and coming. So there are many other sites. We had already that the last night of the proms they are in London, and that Henry what was it? Someone is doing something. He founded the Oldenburg Festival in Suffolk. So in Suffolk is the Oldenburg Festival, and we're releasing a contraction, but we're keeping the leg there. And there are also other great festival seasons. They are around the UK, mostly in the summer. And for example, in Glastonbury and the Isle of Wight Festival in Cranfield. And many bands and solo artists, and we're pressing a last time into the ground. Many bands and also solo artists, both well known and up and coming, perform at these events. So that means that there are bands playing who are well known and famous and since a long time playing, and also solo artists. So not a whole band is playing, but the solo artist does the whole show basically. They oftentimes have also a band and sound as support. And some of them are very well known, and other ones are just for a short time famous, basically, just for 5 minutes or 50 minutes. And the next exercise, we're bringing the leg to the outside with a flexed foot. Now we're turning the leg up and again down with a hydraulic car jack. In front and again down. The National Eistedd Food of Wales is an annual cultural festival which includes music, dance, art and original performances, largely in Welsh. It includes a number of important competitions for Welsh poetry. So there is the National Eistedd Food of Wales. The National Eistedd Food of Wales. And it happens every year. And by this festival there is celebrated music, dance, art and also original performances. And they are in Welsh. So it's a completely different language. In music, so music is done in Welsh, so singing. Dancing, that's probably not done in Welsh, but maybe in Welsh tradition. And art and original performances. And we don't have completely time to do exercise that long. We're doing another leg. So again, flex foot, and we're bringing the leg up, and again leg. No, they are not in Welsh. Yes, in Welsh. Performances largely in Welsh. And then there's also competitions for poetry in Welsh. So poetry would be, for example, This If by Rudyard Kipling. The Mercury Prize is awarded each September for the best album from the UK and Ireland. So there exists the Mercury Prize. So if someone hears the Mercury Prize, that means that in the last September or in September, the best album, which has come from the UK or from Ireland, has got it. The Brit Awards is an annual event that gives awards in a range of categories, such as Best British Group and Best British Solo Artist. So there's another award, the Brit Award. So we're having Mercury Prize and Brit Award. The Brit Award is given any year, and it awards different categories. And we're done with the leg stretching. Going to the butterfly stretch, the soles of the feet together to sitting straight up. The Brit Award and the Brit Award is when awarded to the best British group or the best British solo artist, and also other types. So this is the end. I thank you very much, and until next time.